Hi, I'm Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC LLC, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can help make our community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. In just a moment, we will talk with Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC LLC. I have known Don Hoover for over 20 years, and as we got to know each other through networking and business, as well as most importantly becoming friends, I realized his skill set and his ability to understand people and truly see the potential in individuals and ideas is one of his strongest attributes. He has been a part of major corporations as well as assisted both small and large entities find the people and the policies to help make their business and organizations more successful. I am very excited for you to learn more about Don Hoover and what he does to help people do what they do better. Let's get right down to business with today's featured guest, Don Hoover. Don, thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you, Joe, and most importantly, thank you for the kind words and your friendship.
That's awesome. Well, I feel the same way. Let's take it back to, well, the first question, really. What started you on this journey, and what do you do for the work you do in executive search?
So executive search is a small piece of the overall recruitment process outsourcing that we do. But executive search is one of the areas that I absolutely am passionate about. And so what we do is we try to find the top talent at executive level when companies have, and universities as well, have a hard time finding talent to be great leaders in their organization. And we do that, we have our own formula of doing that, but there are certain things you have to look for, because when you're looking for an executive, you want a great leader who other talent follow. And so really great leaders, talent follows them, and so it makes the rest of the recruitment process really easy and to deal with. So.
Yeah. So you spent a lot of time, I mentioned it in the opening, in industry, and I know you spent a lot of time in the casino industry. So I'd love for you to talk about a little bit about that journey and how it led you to this journey, but specifically now, I'm thinking that during that journey is where you really sharpened those skills to recognize leadership and make that part of your everyday work of recognizing a leader and watching what skills they needed for people to follow them, correct?
Yes. One of the things that, that I teach in the classroom as well is that, you learn some of your best leadership skills from some of your poorest leaders. And so you could find great leadership skills by not doing the things that poor leaders do. But I've also been very privileged to have some really extraordinary leaders to teach me and mentor me along the way. And that has really helped me to be able to identify leaders. And it's a really simple formula, because people will definitely follow great leaders, but your brand always precedes you wherever you go. And so before you join any organization, everybody in the organization you're about to join has looked you up. They know everything about you. They know whether your brand is good, bad, and different. And when you have great leaders and you place great leaders, it elevates the whole organization's output.
I've known you for a lot of years, Don Hoover, and I just had an epiphany sitting here. You were a young man starting in an industry with a lot of mature leaders.
Yes.
And as a young person, you come in, I would think most people come in and say, I know what I need to do. I know how I'm going to do it. But you had to make a decision pretty early on, to be that sort of sponge, to let them mentor you, which actually led to your ultimate success, because you realized early that you had to watch and learn to not only adapt the skills that they were teaching you, but to learn how to recognize the skills in others to make it part of your career path.
Yes.
That might be the most genius move I've ever seen.
Not on purpose, just like almost everything else in hospitality. People that choose the path in hospitality use it as usually a side gig or side hustle, and it turns into a career. And so they're just trying to make a living. But I was also, I think, appreciative of when I first started in Atlantic City, and the Atlantic City was owned by major corporations, and so Tropicana, where I first started, I had a job before that as a security officer at the Sands Casino, and had great leadership there. But in Tropicana was owned by Ramada, and they had a great professional development sequence classes, and so you couldn't be promoted unless you went through in-house training about leadership and how to manage budgets. And so literally the 4 M's, which we'll get into. Really, they teach you that while you're a professional coming up through the organization. And so every promotion you get, the learning gets deeper, the development gets deeper, and you learn skills about mentoring, finding mentors, not being fearful of asking for mentors. And so you get to be able to see a lot of great, and the thing, I guess, maybe a lot of turnover too, you get to witness, is you get to see a lot of great leaders and you get to see a lot of poor leaders, but you get to learn in every single situation.
I'm glad you teed us off for education, because we're going to get into success in education in the next segment. But I want to thank you for being here. Sit tight, we got plenty of show. Next up, a quick look at how you can check out past episodes of the show. Then we'll be right back with more business talk featuring Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC, right here on South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Solid business requires a solid strategy. Let's discover a few tips and maybe a lesson or two from today's featured guest, Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC LLC, on today's strategy session. Don, how do you define success?
Personal life, professional life, I think they both have to be combined, because I think it's important to have your personal life. We'll get into that, I guess, in a little bit, hopefully, and talk about how some of the things in our life keeps us in balance. But success to me is waking up every day, knowing that you have the impact, and you look in the mirror every day and say, I'm the person who I want to be today. And that's how I define success, and that's personal success and business success. And if you're a business, you look yourself in the mirror as a business. Am I doing what I set out to do? Am I fulfilling my mission and my goals? And my strategy for my own personal life and my business is to have a positive impact on anybody I come in contact with. So I don't want to be the negative in the world. I want to be something where somebody sees me and says, that person can help me out and improve my position I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And that's how I define success.
Well, it's probably working, because my next question was going to start with a statement. You and I know a lot of the same people, and I actually credit you with me taking leaps of faith in my business career at different points. It took me a little time to realize you were right, but I did make that move. But it's interesting that you mentioned the impact, because if I mention your name, or if I tell someone, hey, I just had a chance to interview Don, on the show, there's going to be a big smile on their face, and it's going to be someone that you've impacted some way or just come in contact with through either industry work or community work. And I know we do a lot in the community together. How important is it to you, and more importantly, because it's a strategy, right? How did you go about building your network and continue to make the network stronger and that net of the network stronger with each and every interaction?
I think that, just like our relationship too, it's you have to be authentic. You have to be who you are. And I think that if you're authentic and you're out, you can't be purpose-driven where I'm just going to go out and build a network. It has to be relationship-driven. And all relationships are built. It's just not thrown against the wall. And I think that's really critical, is that I never went into anything thinking I'm going to just build this network, just like you haven't.
Yeah.
We just be ourselves and be authentic people. And again, deep down in our core, we want to make people's lives better. And that's really, and I think that's really how the network gets built. And so people refer you, people will do favors when you need them. And, I always think there's something, people always think, what's in it for me at some point, right? But when you're the servant leader and you're trying to take care of others, it all comes back to you. And that's typically, that's sort of the strategy that I think is a simple formula.
Speaking of formulas, and this leads us to the next question, you mentioned, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you have dealt with large corporate leaders, you dealt with small business, medium-sized business, and everything in between, large business, everything in between. It's a diverse group of people, and I'm sure, knowing you meet them where they are, and you speak to them as they need to be spoken to and met at the level where they are to help them succeed. But since we're talking strategy, how does that interaction unfold? Like, they meet you in one level. Like, they might meet you because of the executive search. They might meet you because there was a referral. How does that services being offered, how does that unfold in your world? How do you go about making sure that the offer meets the need when you're talking about someone? Is it through an assessment? Do you do an assessment of the person's needs? How does that work for you?
First, I have to find out what my client, what they need. And so I feel it's just a passion area. I think everybody has strengths, right? And my strength is finding somebody else's strengths and making connections. And hey, we all have a lot of weaknesses too. I'm a fan. I don't know if you've read Marcus Buckingham's book. It's Know Your Strengths. And so he has several books, and there's a Strength Finder Index. And if I have an opportunity, I will give someone that Strength Finder Index. But most importantly, somebody is going to refer the person to me, and it's somebody else who I have a deep relationship with that's putting themselves on the line to refer that person to me. So it's that deep understanding of their brand. The person that's being referred to me is being referred by somebody else of high quality and character for me to be able to impact their lives as well. And I don't know if that answered your question, but
it does. And in a very short time, we covered 4 different areas of strategy. So I want to thank you with giving us a peek into the successful strategies you've used. Sit tight. We got plenty more show.
thanks.
Up next, we're putting Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC, LLC, to the test with the M4 Big Money question right here on South Jersey Business. But first, a quick look at how you can check out episodes of the show. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business. And when you are identifying executive-level candidates within the casino and hospitality industries, you need to know how to mix up all 4 M's. So it's time for the M4 Big Money question with today's featured guest, Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC, LLC. Don, are you ready?
I'm ready, Joe.
All right, then let's break it down. Let's start with management. Tell me about your management style.
So my management style is definitely servant leadership. Okay, so that's the purpose of servant leadership is making sure that you give people the tools and equipment that's necessary for them to achieve their goals, and then you in turn achieve your goals. And so definitely I've been assessed to so many different leadership styles, and that is the one that resonates the most with me is servant leadership.
Well, you're definitely practicing that because you're a great leader and you're actually serving the community that you serve, which is great. So let's go to the second M, which is marketing. So traditional forms of marketing. How do you use marketing to promote what you do and to get the word out about what you do?
It's very simple. First of all, you are your own brand. And so, brand marketing is, one of the biggest components of every success formula of every major Fortune 100 company. And so you are your own brand, I'm my own brand, and the way that we carry ourselves as a brand. So that's marketing when you don't even think you're marketing. And so it's how you deliver on things. It's being on time. It's being the person you promise you're going to be and being authentic. The other thing is, typical. You have business cards right now. You could use an app, CardCam I use, so I could keep track of my business cards, so I can scan business cards, and then I can send marketing emails. I think you know me pretty well that I'm a big database guy. So in marketing, you have to have a group of people where you can send things to and send emails to, send marketing collateral to, and so. Building that database of people is important from a marketing perspective. So it could go as small as a business card to you doing the traditional forms of still, believe it or not, hard copy in local papers and working with your local community too. Volunteering with your local community is marketing yourself as well. It's marketing your skills. So you're doing double duty there.
It's a lot, but it's good. It's all good tips. Let's get to the third M, which is money. Now, I know you talk about the V word all the time, value, but talk to me a little bit about how money works in what you do.
Yeah, so when people, a big topic is people won't just move a job for money, and it is true. Most people don't take a job for money. They take a job because of the leader, and so when I'm trying to present a candidate and I'm presenting the best candidates, I make sure that the organization understands the value that person is going to bring to their organization. They're going to, the reason they called me is they would think that I'm bringing value, of course. But I'm presenting candidates who are going to bring their organization value, and whether that be value that you have the same core principles and you're going to deliver the same core principles and are a great fit, or you have to deliver that value where people are going to follow this executive and make it a lot easier for all the roles underneath that executive to have a success formula.
That's a good point. We're at the fourth M, and this is media. This is the big one today, but we only have a little bit of time to cover this one. So can you tell me a little bit about media and how important it is, social media and the media through the media for your business?
Media, but the medium we're on right now, and we're working through one of the media types right now, just so it's on television and cable, and making sure social media with artificial intelligence, that may be a whole other topic at some point, can really assist you and your organization in promoting your brand. And I think it's easy. Social media, again, you can purchase packages to be promoted and self-promote through podcast and again, multiple areas of coverage for the media.
One word answer to this one. What's your favorite M? Management, marketing, money, or media?
I would say management.
That's clear by your answer too.
Yes, it is, and it's you can't. I don't think you can do any of the other the four M's, which I think is genius anyway. I think I told you that before, but the four M's genius. But if you can't manage, you can't do any of the other three, as far as I'm concerned. And I know within 20 seconds when I walk into any company, I don't care if it's a diner, I don't care if it's a 5-star hotel, a 2-star hotel, I know how it's managed in 15, 20 seconds.
That's great. I want to thank you for sharing your answers to the M4 Big Money question.
It's great. I appreciate it.
There you have it, Don Hoover's well-selected mix of management, marketing, money, and media. We have some more business content coming up, including another segment with today's featured guests. So stick around for more South Jersey Business with Joe Molineaux. Business not only considers resources, employees, and management, but also their customers. Meeting and exceeding your customers' expectation is key for any business. And we are discussing right now with Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC LLC, how he is performing and living up to the great expectations of his customers in his profession. Don, can we talk a little bit about your customers' expectations?
Sure.
What can the customer expect when they engage with you?
So mine is a little different. Because in executive search, on that part of it, I have a contract, and my expectations are in the contract. And it's typically, I'm going to give you 3 candidates that are likely going to be the next executive you're going to hire in your organization. And if you don't choose one of those candidates, then I will provide other candidates after you exhaust that pool of candidates. So that's sort of built in, but the things that aren't built in is how timely I am, making sure that I'm exceeding expectations as far as making sure that I understand how busy they are in the organization and not consuming too much of their time when they have a busy life, that I'm doing my job that they're paying me to do, and I'm delivering exactly to the contract expectations, and again, exceeding them by being that, again, having that passion and that drive to deliver the candidates that are the best candidates for their organization.
So I have a follow-up to that, because you talked about the delivery, and that was going to be part of my question, but this one's more about, based on when you do the assessment and you first meet with the client that's engaging with you, the expectations don't change, but the deliverables may change, correct? So there's certain people that are requiring or looking for certain things. So you do have the ability to, even though the contract is going to be the expectations set out, but it's what you deliver and how you deliver it is going to be based on everything from time frame, I'm guessing what they need, right?
Yes.
To emphasis on certain skill sets that you know certain industries need. So can you talk a little bit more about how you adjust and going about adjusting the deliverable?
Yeah, so first of all, it's just like any customer walking through your door, that you've got to be flexible. And so needs may change. They may change overnight. And so you may have expectations that you're giving to try to find candidates, and it may just completely change because the business environment changes that quickly. And so they may have had a person underneath that position resign as well, which completely changes the scope of why they're hiring you. So being flexible is key. And again, like we have the same thing, is a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor. And I think that when people find out that you're that relaxed about what you do and you have that kind of passion, that makes them feel comfortable too. They made the right selection in choosing you.
That's great. This might be the easiest answer of all for this segment. Why do customers choose you? Why do you feel they choose to engage with Don Hoover?
I'm hoping that, is it the chicken or the egg? That I give them previous candidates, and have I helped them out? Many times it's when I don't get paid for it. And so I make it part of my life when somebody needs something, that I don't just send them a contract and say, I'll help you, but I need you to pay me. In my personal life and in my professional scope of what I do, people will call quite frequently and say, do you have anybody for this position? And if it's a position that I feel I can connect somebody that I know is a great person and a great fit, I'll recommend that person. And I think that people realize that you're just not somebody there that's just trying to grab, even though that's one of the 4 M's, the money, yeah. Right? You have to make money, but the money's already built in there. That it's, you have that goodwill, and you're trying to create that goodwill, that you know good people, and you're willing to recommend good people, and it's not always for money.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your great expectations with us, Don.
Thank you.
And that's how a business lives up to its great expectations. Thank you again to Don Hoover, principal of Freewheelin' AC, LLC, for sharing the keys to customer success on today's show. We'll be right back. And now it's time to shine the spotlight on Don Hoover and gain some extra illumination on exactly what Freewheelin' AC LLC offers and brings to the community right here in South Jersey. Don, thanks for allowing us to turn the spotlight on the business.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Joe.
So if you can, tell us what Freewheelin' AC LLC does.
We're a complete talent agency, quite honestly. So it's a RPO, which is a recruitment process outsourcing. So it could be as small as hiring somebody that you have a hard to fill role in your organization. It could be a local hardware store, and it could be a local hotel trying to find housekeepers. And so to come up with a strategy and develop the deployment strategy to fill the need. And it goes the whole way to the whole recruitment process to every part of the recruitment process to just parts of the recruitment process, the whole way up to executive search and hiring general managers and C-suite executives.
Which really runs the gamut, which is great. So that's a lot of work. How does that happen? This is the how part of the question. How do you make that happen?
I'm still wondering that myself. But it's very busy, and I make sure that everything is scheduled on my calendar, and it's synced with my phone so that I know exactly what my goals are for the day and for the week. So it's almost reverse engineering. I've got to place people by this date, and I've got to have my interviews lined up, so I reverse engineer that. And I make sure I have a rule of thumb too. After 90 minutes, it can really get to you. And after 90 minutes, I have to get up and stretch, get some air, and sometimes get outside for a few minutes, and then before I go back in again.
Yeah, that's the benefit. You got to keep it healthy and make it work. So I think I know the answer to this, but for the viewing audience, I think it's important. Can you just give us a quick synopsis of who your client is? So who actually pays that bill?
Yeah, so the clients are typically casino hotels, and they're the most of the clients. But we also have had small clients as well, like like I said, local organizations and people that you wouldn't think would have a need for a recruitment process outsourcing, but at times you just need some professionals on because you have to think of it as, what am I losing by not having a professional look at my recruitment process?
Yeah. They want the perfect person, and I think they're trying to find the perfect person to help them find that person.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this one you have to turn the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror. Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up every day and do what you do?
First of all, I don't even think it's work. And I think that's just, it's such a cliche, and it's just, it just doesn't feel like work. And I don't know too many people that just love to sit and look at resumes and find connections with people. It's something that I just feel it's one of my strengths. And again, we all have weaknesses, and I focus on my strengths. Yeah. And it's quite honestly, I love putting people in work.
That's great. So my final question is, you just ran through a lot of hard work that you're doing each and every day, and you love every minute of it, but you have to balance that with family, of course, and with your social life and everything else. How do you, Don Hoover, maintain the family life that I know you have because we're friends, the social life that I have that I enjoy with you, and the work piece? How do you balance it all?
I think that's one of the things that I think you have to work on, because I think you could get bogged down in work. And the thing is, especially when we just talked about that we enjoy what we do, so that could just bleed into everything else in your life. Mm-hmm. But family is always first, and I think that every time that I've been in any situation in my life, because I've chosen family and I have that core value of that family comes first, is that everything always falls in place after. But being present, being authentic, taking time, meditate, eat right, take care of yourself so you can take care of others.
That's a golden message right there, Don. I want to thank you for allowing us to shine the spotlight on your business today.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate being here.
That was today's Spotlight, providing a clear view of what Don Hoover and Freewheel and AC LLC is all about. We'll be right back. Well, that's the show. We had a solid business discussion with Don Hoover, principal of Freewheel and AC LLC. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next time. And until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.